how to be able to see that your relationship has emotional detachment, absence in your relationship. One of you is perhaps just completely silent, completely gone, not interested at all. I've got ways to be able to detect that. Ooh. And then things that we can do to be able to prevent that from happening.
Here's a question for you. Is marriage overrated?
Why aren't people getting married anymore?
A new Pew Research poll found that 2 in 5 young adults think marriage is an outdated tradition.
Marriage rates are at their lowest right now.
Is marriage really even worth it?
More than half of marriages end in divorce.
If you get married, you have to be stuck with this person for the rest of your life, right? That's why you get married. So that's why it's declining. Why would you get married if you want to have just one partner when you can have multiple?
Marriage is stupid.
Welcome to the Married AF podcast, the self-proclaimed greatest marriage and relationship podcast in the world. We are your hosts, Matthew and Monica Powers. Baby.
Yep.
We're here today.
Okay.
How to be able to see that your relationship has emotional detachment, absence in your relationship. One of you is perhaps just completely silent, completely gone, not interested at all. I've got ways to be able to detect that. Ooh. And then things that we can do to be able to prevent that from happening. And it all stems from a story that I read a while ago that I'm going to read first. And this is like a whole nother next level of it all. But it led me to think, okay, this happened, and this is an extreme, but this happens in people's relationships where one person is just completely detached. They're not interested, and it seems like they're completely absent from the relationship.
Okay. I'm going to need to hear the story because what I'm hearing is not a relationship.
Well, one would think, and this is going to take it to another level. So here's the story. 6 weeks ago, my husband of almost 3 years took off. I came home from work to find him standing in the kitchen with a suitcase, saying that it was nothing personal, but he needed to get away for a while, and then he left. I didn't hear from him or see him for 5 weeks. I was hurt because I was also frantic with worry. I thought we were very happy, and this came completely out of the blue. He didn't go to work. They said he had taken a leave of absence, hadn't spoken to any of our friends about this, and his parents claimed he wasn't in touch with them. He came back last Thursday. He refuses to answer any questions about where he was and what he was doing. He is also a little angry with me for involving our friends and family in his personal business. I am torn between thinking that he was having some kind of crisis and thinking that he spent the last 5.5 weeks with another woman. Now that he's home, he seems to want me to forget that this ever happened and pick up right where we left off. I've told him that he needs to tell me where he's been, what he's done, or he can leave again. He says he's not talking about it anymore and he's not going anywhere. What are your thoughts on that story?
You disappear for 5 weeks. You better be dead.
Without wanting to say a word about it.
Now, does it say what kind of job he has?
No, it does not.
Because I do know that if you are in some kind of military service type of situation, if you are in that type of job where they make you drop everything you're doing some kind of secret job or something, you can't talk about it.
But that would be, for me, that would be if that were us, okay, I got to go to work. Let's hypothetically say that were us, and I'm standing in the kitchen with the bag. I'm not going to say, hey, I need to take off for a little while. It's going to be I have to go to work, and I'm going to be gone for a little while. And you would know at that point, like, okay. But this leads nothing to believe that.
True.
I'm going to say not. This dude, to me, let's hypothetically say, this guy going to work a finance job, and he's just miserable. And the reason
Why finance?
why
Are
not?
people in finance miserable?
I don't know, but why not? It's some sort of finance job.
Okay.
And he goes to work in an office every day, and he hates his job, which has caused him to hate his life and hate his wife. And he just needs to get away and do his own thing for a little while. That's what I picture. I picture some business guy coming home saying, I've had it. I deserve better. The grass is greener. I'm going to get me some hot, young 20-something, and we're going to do whatever we want, however we want. That's what I picture out of this. No doubt he was with another woman for 5.5 weeks. Are you kidding me right now?
You're telling me that there was no paper trail to finding this dude.
Supposedly. She called friends, family.
I'm
his
not
work.
talking about friends. I'm talking about bank accounts, credit card statement.
Now, see, that's where I would
Where's
go.
your location on his phone or something else?
To me, how can you go away for 6 weeks and just disappear and nobody have a clue where you are, what's going on, what it's about? How can you leave your wife for this amount of time and then just show back up at home? Like, hey, I'm back. What's for dinner?
Right where we left off.
Hey, what?
But he's pissed off because she got family and friends involved.
In his personal business, you selfish piece of crap. That's not my initial response. Now, we don't know the whole story. This is all that the article said, and neither here nor there. This is stupid.
An age for
no.
Because they've only been married for 3 years, but that doesn't mean
They could be 21 years old. They could be in their 40s. I don't know.
It doesn't say anything about having children.
No, but I can't imagine you just show back up like, hey, honeys, what's for dinner? What person with any type of real functioning brain can think that that's okay? But she's
obviously not okay with it.
Clearly not. She doesn't need to be.
But she's still there?
Get your rear end out of this house right now. You tell me everything that happened, or you go and never see me ever again.
If this were something that happened to me, where you just disappeared and came back 5 weeks later, you would come home to an empty house.
Or I would come home and no one would ever see or hear from me ever again. I'd be a dead man.
You were gone for 5 weeks and nobody knew where you were. We're going to challenge that for the rest of your life.
So, but that article led me to believe. Now, this is an extreme, crazy situation that I think is hopefully extremely rare. But it led me to believe that he apparently was so unhappy that he just, instead of creating distance that we normally see in a relationship, where you're a little standoffish, you feel like you're growing apart, you feel like you're roommates. We see that all the time. Dude just picked up and he's just gone and just left. So it made me think, okay, when you have absence in the relationship, most of the time people are going to say it just kind of happened out of nowhere. But I believe that there are usually going to be signs that were all along the way that we were just blind to. We didn't want to see them to prevent this from happening. So I've got several things, several signs for you to be able to see, are we becoming distant in our relationship? Now, you're going to have good days and bad days, and
sure, some
days just feel like, man. But for real absence and distance in your relationship, for you to feel that should be something that you see. So here's some things to be able to recognize that. Your spouse no longer will share his or her problems with you. And I totally agree with that.
I could see that.
Because
they don't care to talk to you about it.
You're supposed to be for each other.
Yeah.
And like, you're the first person I'm going to come to with anything, and vice versa. And that's how most relationships need to work, where you and your spouse, you can openly talk about things when there are problems, whether it's personal or it's in your relationship with the kids, at work, family, whatever. You come to your spouse, you talk about it, and they help you work through it. I agree. I think the moment that you start noticing where you can tell your spouse is bothered by something and they begin to kind of draw back and they're not sharing their problems with you and they give you just the fine answer, I think that is a red flag, and it's saying maybe there's something going on here. Now, if it happens,
always with the female. Fine. Most of the time, they just want you to dig in a little deeper and ask more questions.
I mean, good Lord, that is a whole nother topic for another day, which is, I have thoughts on that, and we do not have the time to be able to discuss that in the end. And that's not even a word. How furious I get when that happens. But I think if it's something you begin to see as a pattern that happens over time and over time, that's a red flag that pops up to say, okay, what's going on? Like,
not just once, but
yeah. I mean, it could be it could be once where,
I could see that.
you know, like, how's everything fine? You can tell now there's something going on. A one-off thing's going to happen. That's just human nature. We kind of shut off and do that. But when it's consistently, and you consistently see your spouse is no longer sharing their problems with you and seeking advice from you, I think that is a red flag that, hey, there's some distance that's being created and a wedge that's being driven in your relationship. The second one, that you find that your spouse is unmoved by any show of emotions. That if your spouse, like if you came to me and you're visibly upset about something and something has hurt you, you know, you're crying, you're angry, you're frustrated, whatever. There's some a real emotional thing going on, and if I'm just deadpan, like, yeah, well, that stinks.
That has happened to me before. With you.
It's not a good thing.
It is very recent. Do you
What
not
was
remember
it?
this?
Maybe I don't. We got live on
I
air.
lit you up the next morning because of it.
What was it?
I was having a very bad dream. It was so real. And I woke up crying to the point where I went to check on our children, that they were still here. And my dream did not come true. I get back in bed sobbing. You remember now?
I remember.
But I get in bed and you're always like, baby, wake me up if you have a bad dream. And you usually console me. I mean, it's very rare.
I totally remember. I completely blew you off.
I tried to snuggle and get you to pay attention. You pushed me to the other side of the bed.
And I just turned over.
Listen, my emotions went from sad to pissed off in less than 0.2 seconds.
Listen, in my defense, I was dead asleep when this was going on. A freaking tornado could have come through the bedroom. I'd been unbothered, had paid no attention whatsoever.
But
so yeah, I didn't show you any type of emotion when you were going through that. So I was completely unmoved.
And
in my defense, I was exhausted. I was passed out. I was in my deep, deep sleep.
Yeah, because the next morning when I lit into you, you had no idea that it happened. You were like, oh, baby, I'm so sorry. I was like, get away from me.
Now, listen, this isn't as bad, but this is almost as bad as when your wife gets mad at you for something you did in her dreams that you got nothing to do with.
I've done that.
I think every woman's done that at some point in time. Like, how dare you do that to me in my dream? It's like, what are you talking about?
Well, I always say, let me tell you what your dream guy did last night.
I got no control over him.
But I'm looking at the guy that looks just like the dream guy.
Not my fault. So, yeah, all right. So, yeah, I did I was unmoved by your emotions. But in my defense, I was in a deep, deep sleep, and anything could have happened, and I would have had no clue that was going on.
That is true.
But if your spouse is awake and they're aware that things are happening, and you come to them with emotions they're unmoved by, yeah, that's something that's definitely going on. The third one, if they're indifferent to solving any type of conflict mutually, where if you're having a disagreement about something and they're completely indifferent, like I could care less if we get through this. Like, I know we're not on the same page about something, and I don't care if we solve this or not. I'm going to go on and do my thing. I think that is also a huge red flag where if your spouse is they don't care. They're indifferent. They're not worried about it. Like, okay, we disagree. We'll agree to disagree. Go on and let's do our own thing. Doesn't matter.
Yikes.
That's going to create some huge distance in your relationship.
No, we've been at that point, but it wasn't something that mattered.
No.
Like you would think this is the right way, and I would think this is the right way. And it wouldn't be an argument to the point of, it doesn't matter. Move on. That it would affect the relationship.
No.
And those are okay, because not everybody's going to agree on everything.
Yes. And
but when it's something that is serious and it's a continued thing, and it's not ever going to be solved, and you can't just be okay with it. Like, I'm okay with you not agreeing with me on certain things.
Yeah, I think you're not going to agree with every little thing.
No.
You're not going to have this be on the same page with your spouse about every little thing. And there will be times where it is okay to agree to disagree on something. But when it comes to big things, big ideas, big conflicts, life type stuff, yeah, you need to come to some sort of resolution together. And in those moments where your spouse is like, I don't care, I'm indifferent about this.
Oh, I couldn't imagine.
That's just another one where a wedge is being driven right there. The number 4, there's a lack of interest in having sex. You have thoughts.
I see that in a lot of relationships, though.
Explain.
There's one that wants it more than the other.
I mean, I think that's true most of the time, though.
I guess so, but in a way that it's affecting the relationship. Does that make sense?
It does.
Like, of course, you want sex some more times than not, but when I want it, you're always going to want it, kind of thing. And we just have a very healthy sex life. Mm-hmm. That's not a secret. Happy about it.
Very.
But there are the people that, well, it's my birthday. I'm gonna get mine tonight.
Get my birthday booty. I'm gonna get Valentine's Day booty.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
it's like
anniversary booty.
I'm gonna get these.
Yeah.
This amount of times, but there are some cases where maybe there's some trauma.
I'm sure.
And that causes some other issues where let's be honest, it's most of the time the women who have some serious trauma that has happened, and the men want sex. That's just a need for a man.
It is. It's a basic need.
Yeah.
It just is.
Create Harmony is a podcast about setting an intentional rhythm and savoring God's blessings. In this place, we'll take a few minutes to celebrate everyday joys and remind ourselves how to notice goodness that is all around us. During the winter at Create Harmony, we shift our focus to all things cozy and snuggly. And while our days are shorter and darker, we stay attuned to the things that help us reset and restore. At the start of this new year, our podcast is filled with winter self-care, as well as ways to declutter and clear your mind. Check it out.
And not all women are okay with continuing to
do it,
have sex, because they start thinking about bad things. You can't let that's the past. You cannot let that interfere with the relationship that you have, especially if it's a healthy relationship.
Right. And that's a very real past for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is trauma that people have to deal with, and there's abuse that people go through and maybe went through when they were much younger, and it's coming up now. Those are things where you need to get the help that you need to be able to get through that.
There are people you can talk to over this.
You don't need to hold that in all by yourself. Your spouse is someone you need to be able to talk to about that, openly talk to about that, and your spouse needs to be someone who is supportive of you through that. The street goes both ways on that. But if that is you, absolutely, you need professional help. You need to speak to someone about it. You can't hold it in. It's not going to work. Mm-mm. Things like that are going to happen. Totally. But it can be just another sign of, hey, there's distance being created, especially if you had a very healthy sex life at one point in time and things have been really good, and now all of a sudden she or he just seems no longer interested.
Well, I also see the women after having a baby, even year to 2 years after, might not be comfortable with their body.
Correct.
We've seen a lot of that.
Yes, we have.
Where no matter what, in his eyes, she's absolutely gorgeous. Doesn't matter if she's gained weight. Doesn't matter if her body has changed. He still holds her on a pedestal. She can't get past her flaws. that causes issues because she's not going to want to let him see her. So that makes a distance in the one relationship, and two, sex is not going to happen. And I've said this before. If you don't want him to see, have sex in the dark.
Turn off the lights.
Turn off the lights. He does not care as much as you care.
No, in fact, he, I won't say he doesn't care, but he definitely is not thinking about yourself what you think about yourself. He is definitely not thinking as negatively about you as you are thinking about yourself.
No, not at all.
Not in the least bit. So that's definitely what I got. Just a couple more here. Secretive behavior, I think, is maybe red flag like number one.
Well, yeah. But
Red
example.
flag. Just being very secretive, being very non-informative, not going into any type of detail. Of course, hiding phones. You walk into the room, they close their computer real quick. Just
kill all
anything
their
like that.
apps.
Kill all their apps real fast. I know for you and I, we say it a lot. Our phones are always up like this. I mean, they're up. They can be seen by whoever. We have nothing to hide there. When a couple especially is there and you see them face down, boom. That's just saying, what's going on there? Now, I can see if it's in a group setting or something like that. Maybe keep it in your pocket, keep it in your purse, something like that. But just secretive type behavior. If you're on opposite ends of the couch and, typically it goes towards phones and they're just kind of shifted away from you because I don't want you to see what's going on here. There's only one time where I think that is perfectly okay. And that is if you are trying to shop for your spouse, get them something for whatever, and surprise them with something. Absolutely. Other than that, absolutely not. I mean, it should be an open book both ways. But if you recognize secretive behavior, where you can just tell they're not telling you or disclosing the full story about something, I think that's just another thing that's, your spouse is lacking some transparency there.
Yeah, if your spouse cannot go through all of your tech gadgets and see what emails have been sent or text messages, the hidden stuff, the private side of all that, there's definitely something going on that you don't want them to know about, and that is not healthy.
No, it's not healthy at all. Two more signs that you're seeing some absence or going that direction in your relationship: frequent escapes, where your spouse is just constantly like, I need to go for a walk. Just something as simple as that. And it's constant, like, I need to get out of the house. Maybe they're sitting in their car for 10, 15 minutes once they get home every single day. Stuff like that. Frequent potential trips where I need to have another guy's weekend. I need to have another girl's weekend. I need to have another this. I need some me time. I need some this. I need some that. Where they're just trying to completely escape reality and escape what they have going on right in front of them. Maybe it's even overcommitting at work. Like, I got another project to work, and they're signing up for all these things to do at work so they do not have to come home to you.
Is that what you think about me when I go on my girls' trips?
Every single time. No, I'm more jealous. So I'm like, I want to go. Not the girls' trip side, but I want to go where you're going. That's fun.
We go to the same place every single time.
Exactly. And it is a little infuriating. The last one is an inability to share joy. And I think this one kind of goes back to unmoved by emotions.
Yeah.
But the inability to be able to share joy. Like when you go on your girls' trips, I'm kind of funny sometimes, jealous, and make jokes about it. But I'm extremely happy for you to be able to go do that.
I'm on, like, these people that are listening or watching don't understand that my girls' trips are to Disney World.
Yes. They are.
I guess that we're the people that they call Disney adults.
Disney adults. Listen.
Is that I don't even know what that really is. I've heard that.
That's a thing. Yeah.
Where you like to go to Disney. I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to apologize, but I'm sorry. Yeah.
What's that? Demi Lovato? Sorry, not sorry.
There you go.
That's it. I am not going to apologize for being able to, go on those kind of trips. But we love to go there and act like a kid.
Yes, it's fun.
We also take our kids to act like kids too.
Yes, we do.
So we're always acting like a kid when we're at Disney World or Disneyland. But we always go to Disney World in Florida for our girls' trips. I'd say 80% of the time, I'm either texting you or FaceTiming you because of whatever is happening in that moment. I have to share it with
so
you.
You're sharing that experience with me, even though I'm 500 miles away, which is great. But I'm able to.
But you're jealous, but at the same time,
I'm jealous because I want to be there.
That
but
I get to be there.
I'm so happy that you get to be there, that you get to experience it, that you get to have fun and do that. And if you're unable to share joy when something positive happens for your spouse, and something as easy as that, or a promotion at work, or something great happened with one of their friends, and they're excited about it. If you're unable to share the joy and not show enthusiasm like your spouse is, and not kind of meet their same level and meet their same energy with something that excites them, then yeah, that can be something. Now, again, one-off instances are going to happen with all of this stuff. One-off things are going to happen every step of the way, but it's when you notice a pattern and you see something consistently happening over and over and over again, that's the moment where it says, there's something going on. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on here.
Now, some of the times when you might want to read the room on a situation, when you want to share some good news and your spouse is maybe feeling bad, had a really bad day, it's not something that you want to cheer them up with, in a sense.
Yeah. Let me tell you about the amazing thing that happened to me today.
I'm sorry you had a terrible day, but let me tell you what happened to me.
Exactly.
Don't do that. That's what's going to kill that. You're going to be a joy kill.
Yeah, yes, you most certainly are.
So don't read the room. Know your audience on, should I share this information of joy at this moment or wait? Because it can wait.
Yes, it can, most certainly can wait. Read the room, find the right time. There's a time and place for everything, and that's important to do that. So if you're experiencing that, you've noticed some of these red flags, it's definitely time to take a look and just kind of dissect everything, take inventory of where you and your spouse are. But I've got a few things here that this is a way to kind of overcome that. If you're recognizing that stuff, there's just small things we can do, because if these things are happening, if you're noticing these things in your spouse, I'd be willing to bet everything we got it's not all on them, that there are probably some things internally that we're doing that is causing that to happen. They're not completely off the hook, but it's so hard for us to look in the mirror and point to ourselves and say, you know what? I could have contributed to that, maybe just a little bit. So to find a good balance there, I think one thing that's important to do is express appreciation to each other, even in the smallest, like little things. You know, oh, thanks for making me a sandwich. You know, thanks for grabbing this at the store for me. Oh, thanks for, whatever that looks like. Man, that can change someone's mood so fast, especially if someone's feeling distant, seems like they're distant. If they've had a bad few weeks, man, something so small as just feeling appreciated can change the game.
I agree.
Completely change the game. So express appreciation. The next one, engage in new activities together. Try something new with each other. It can be as simple as try a new different restaurant. Instead of going to Applebee's, go somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Okay, Ricky Bobby.
But try new things together. And I mean, that's something exciting. It's an experience that you get to have together. It's the first time. It's something you remember. You can build off of that. You talk about it. It brings back a good memory, especially if it's something fun and exciting. And I'm not saying we went through anything difficult for it to happen, but I think back when we were in Hawaii and we did the shark diving together. I mean, that was an unbelievable new experience, new activity, something kind of crazy. But it's something we'll always remember, something we cherish that we did together, and our kids got to do it as well. I mean, that's a great memory as a family that we can talk about, we can remember, we can have that experience. And I mean, that's just a way that it builds closeness.
Or you can just go to Applebee's and dress up really fancy.
Or you can go to Applebee's and dress up really fancy.
You don't get it. It's okay.
No, I don't get it.
It's a song. Fancy. I think it's fancy like Applebee's.
Applebee's is so far from fancy, but I love some Applebee's.
It's a country song, Matthew.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that song.
I know.
Did Travis Tritt sing it?
I honestly don't know who sings it.
See?
I just know our nephew sings it.
Well, if it's a country song, what I know about country, Travis Tritt definitely sang that song. So engage in new
Matthew,
activities together.
Applebee's is our first date.
Applebee's is awesome. The quesadilla burger they
We
used to
dressed
have.
fancy.
It was homecoming. That's what you did.
We
Because
went to Applebee's for homecoming.
because Applebee's was fancy at that time for us. We didn't have any fancy restaurants around us at all. Are you kidding me? What are you going to do? Go to Applebee's or O'Charlie's? Those are your two spots.
Because they're right next door.
You got no choice. So you engage in new activities together because that will help you with the third one. It rebuilds trust. Rebuild trust with each other. And now, how do you do that? Engage in new activities with each other.
I'm
Try
not
something
telling
new.
you
Take
to
a
go
risk.
jump in a shark tank and go swimming with sharks, but
That takes a little bit of trust.
maybe just dress fancy at Applebee's.
maybe just dress fancy at Applebee's. And the last one, practice empathy with each other.
Oh, that's tough.
I know that's tough. We talked about that in our last episode, but practicing empathy is so important, especially when you see the crap that goes on today. The people are dealing with a lot of stuff. Your spouse is dealing with a lot of stuff. Be empathetic to their situation and what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to them. Hear them out. And we talked about it the last episode. If you don't want to talk about it, go back and listen to the last episode because we need to practice empathy with each other so badly. So those are things I think that signs you can easily see that could cause some absenteeism in your relationship, some emotional distance, emotional detachment with each other that frankly is just not healthy for you. It's not good for you.
I agree.
So do you have anything you want to add, baby? As I shut my laptop real quick so you can't look at it.
You're a nerd. I love my nerd.
I'm so glad that you do. Shall we leave?
We live here.
Well, you know what I mean. Until next time, Married AF internet audience.
So funny.
God, we love you. We are so thankful for what you do. We're thankful for this platform that you provided us. We pray over every single episode, every single word spoke, that it comes from you and it reaches the people that need to hear it. And God, just take it to those who need it. And that's really the only thing that matters. We will keep doing this as long as you want it. We trust you to do what it is that you can do and go further than we could ever even imagine. And it's only because of you. I pray that everything that we do, you get all the honor, you get all the glory, because it's only because of you. We love you so much and we are so thankful. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Play ball.